Hey everyone, this video is all about carbon fiber and some of the myths surrounding this material. We use carbon fiber in the DarkAero 1, an aircraft we are developing for high-speed, long-range flight. Carbon fiber is a pretty awesome material for aircraft structures, and using it is part of what allows us to achieve our design goals. It can be complicated to design and work with, so it's understandable that there are some misconceptions surrounding this material. Misconceptions and myths can, however, be excellent teaching tools. So let's delve deeper into some of these myths to gain a better understanding of carbon fiber. First myth about carbon fiber is the idea that it is all the same. In order to dispel this myth, it's important to first have an understanding of what carbon fiber even is. When people use the term carbon fiber, they are typically referring to carbon fiber reinforced polymer composites, which are made by combining raw carbon fibers with a matrix material in liquid form like epoxy resin. A simplified analogy would be to compare carbon fiber composite to concrete and rebar. The fibers carry tensile loads similar to rebar, and the resin allows the fibers to hold their shape and carry compressive loads similar to concrete. When both are combined, they create a new material that has properties which are a blend of the concrete and rebar properties. In a similar sense, carbon fiber composites have properties that are a blend of the fiber and resin that they are made up from. The cool thing about fiber-reinforced composite materials like carbon fiber is that they can be customized and optimized for a given application. The fibers in the material can be arranged so that they line up with the loads that will be applied to a structure. This allows more strength and stiffness to be added where it is needed. When you design a carbon fiber part, you are not just designing the part. In a sense, you are also designing the material that the part is made out of. This is a bit different from metal. Standardized metal alloys have been established with known mechanical properties, so these can be used off the shelf without having to engineer a new alloy. On the other hand, there aren't standardized carbon fiber composites like there are standard metal alloys. This is because well-engineered carbon fiber structures are optimized by tailoring the composite material for the specific application. That is, carbon fiber is not all the same because it is often customized. There are a ton of variables that go into determining the properties of composite materials like carbon fiber. Naturally, these include the fiber type and resin type, but beyond this, other factors like fiber orientation, manufacturing process, fiber-to-resin ratio, and void content also play a role. These variables will affect the tensile strength, impact resistance, temperature capability, compressive strength, stiffness, and chemical resistance of a carbon fiber composite part. If we focus just on the carbon fiber from a single manufacturer like Toray, a range of fiber grades can be found. Different grades have different strengths and stiffnesses. Toray divides their fibers up into standard, intermediate, and high modulus fibers, which can be seen plotted on this chart of strength versus modulus. This chart is nice because it shows how just within one manufacturer of carbon fibers, you can end up with a wide range of properties depending on what specific grade of carbon fiber is used. Besides the variable of fiber grade, the resin matrix plays a major role in determining the properties of a carbon fiber composite part. There are thousands of options for resin that can alter the properties of a carbon fiber composite, like its impact resistance, temperature capability, and chemical resistance. Without resin, rigid carbon fiber parts could not be created. The main takeaway is that not only will different grades of fiber produce different properties, the resin matrix material will also play a role in determining the properties of the carbon fiber composite part. The idea that not all carbon fiber is the same is important to remember when evaluating its use in a given application. Just saying something is made out of carbon fiber doesn't go far enough to explain whether or not it will work for an application. The second myth that we'll be talking about is the idea that carbon fiber has no strength under compression. To dispel this myth and understand where it might have originated, let's recall once again that a carbon fiber composite is a combination of fiber reinforcement and a matrix material. Like a rope, carbon fibers in their raw form are strong and stiff when pulled in tension, but they'll collapse when pushed in compression. This analogy leads to the incorrect conclusion that the fibers only support tensile loads, even when combined with a resin matrix material. An alternative but still incorrect conclusion is that the compressive strength of the composite will only be the compressive strength of the resin. The truth is found when looking at actual measured strength values for carbon fiber composites, both in tension and compression. While the compressive strength is less than the tensile strength, it is far from zero, and commonly much higher than the compressive strength of just the resin alone. The tensile strength of unidirectional carbon fiber composite loaded in the fiber direction can easily reach values of 200 KSI and higher. Compressive strength values of 150 KSI are attainable for the same material, while the compressive strength of the resin alone is rarely over 20 KSI. For comparison, the compressive strength of grade 5 titanium is around 120 to 150 KSI. Within acceptable temperature limits, the strength of a carbon fiber composite is mainly determined by the amount of fiber in the composite and the orientation of the fibers relative to the applied load. Carbon fiber composite can support compressive loads because the resin matrix stabilizes the reinforcement fibers, allowing them to hold their shape and resist compressive loads. Now, one factor I failed to mention when it comes to the strength of carbon fiber is damage. This brings us to the last myth that we'll be covering, which is the idea that carbon fiber can't handle damage and repeated loading. Many materials degrade over time and fail from repeated loading. This is known as fatigue. Small cracks can develop and grow through each repeated load cycle. When they propagate far enough, they can reach a critical size and cause the material to fracture. Both carbon fiber composites and metals will accumulate damage through repeated loading. But in general, carbon fiber can last many more cycles than metals before failing. A second component to this myth is the idea that composites, unlike metals, will fail suddenly and without warning. To explain the root of this, let's look at how metals and composites behave under applied loads. Both metals and composites have an elastic deformation region where they will deform but return back to their original state when the load is removed. The deformation versus load in the elastic region will be linear. The big difference between metals and composites lies beyond this elastic region. Common metal alloys have a plastic deformation region where they will permanently deform under an applied load and will not return back to their original state. The point where the response transitions from elastic to plastic is called the yield strength. The deformation versus load in the plastic region past the yield strength will be non-linear. This is classified as ductile behavior. Think of a spring and how under normal conditions it will stretch and spring back without permanent deformation. But if pulled hard enough, this spring can be stretched permanently out of shape. Carbon fiber does not have this ability to elongate in a ductile manner and will generally maintain a mostly linear response until it fractures. From this standpoint, if we were to take two samples, one made from metal and one made from carbon fiber composite, and apply a gradually increasing load to each, both samples would eventually break, but the metal sample would plastically deform before breaking. When metals are pushed to their limit, the approach to failure is visually apparent because the plastic region of deformation gives early indication that their fracture point is near. The maximum stress that a material can withstand before breaking is known as the ultimate strength, and it is a useful metric to compare the performance of materials. Focusing just on ultimate strength alone is deceptive though, because it leaves off another important piece of design, which is the fatigue behavior that we mentioned earlier. Some parts may only need to be designed to withstand a single load cycle, such as single-use rockets, but many applications require us to design for millions of cycles or more. In these scenarios, we need to design not just for ultimate strength, but for the number of cycles that we expect a part to handle at an applied load. When we look at how metals and composites behave when exposed to a certain number of load cycles, we get a better understanding of their capability than if we were just to focus on ultimate strength alone. Let's take a look at a rough depiction of damage size versus fatigue cycles to see how metals and composites compare. Both carbon fiber composites and metals will accumulate damage through repeated loading, but in general, carbon fiber can last many more load cycles than metals before failing. Initial defects in composite materials like voids and delaminations can often be much larger than initial defects found in metals like microcracks. What's interesting though is that the window of time between detection of this damage and the point at which this damage reaches a critical size that leads to failure is typically much narrower in metals compared with composite materials. Through routine inspections and non-destructive testing, the health of a carbon fiber composite part can be assessed before it will fail. One of the most common methods for non-destructive testing is ultrasonic inspection. This method involves sending pulses of sound energy into a composite structure and monitoring the way that it transmits and reflects through the cross-section. A section of material that contains defects will produce a different response compared to material that is defect-free. And this principle can be used to locate voids, delaminations, and other structural imperfections. This is one of the techniques that we demonstrate in our aerospace composites course. I'll leave a link in the description of this video below if you want to learn more about that. The improved fatigue characteristics of composites over metals is one of the main drivers in commercial aviation to move towards using more composites. You can see this in aircraft like the Airbus A350, which is made up of around 50% composite materials by weight. The A350 incorporates composites as part of its fuselage and wing structures, which has reduced or eliminated the need for fatigue and corrosion inspections that would normally occur using metals. So, let's summarize some of the key takeaways from the discussion of these three myths. First, it is important to remember that when you create a composite part, you are also creating the material that the part is made out of. Beyond fiber and fabric choice, there are also millions of ways that the properties of a carbon fiber composite can be altered, from the fiber orientation, the resin matrix selection, and the technique used to combine these two. This allows the material to be optimized for the application, and it also means that carbon fiber is not all the same. Second, when it comes to the strength and stiffness of a carbon fiber part, remember that carbon fiber composites are made up of both a fiber reinforcement and a resin matrix material. Combined, these components give carbon fiber composites their complete strength, as opposed to the behavior of carbon fiber or resin taken alone to support tensile and compressive loads. And lastly, carbon fiber composites have much better fatigue resistance than metals. They also provide a wider window over which damage can be assessed before being decommissioned. If you take nothing else away from this video, just remember that there are many variables that contribute to the properties of carbon fiber composite parts, and that it's important to understand what these are and what the test data tells us before drawing any conclusions about what a composite part is capable of. Thank you all for watching. We'll catch you next time.